Bitter criticism. People don't talk too much about this, but there's a crisis in Chile. Like maybe this is the eternal crisis. Maybe it's just like the not genocide, the bitter crit School of Life channel. There's a channel called School of Life where they talk a lot about is a channel about social sciences, humanities. Tome. Sorry. A social sciences channel. And there's a video about Max Weber, and this Max Weber video is they say that capitalism doesn't work well in most of the world. Capitalism doesn't work well in most of the world. I will show you. And it's not working well, of course, in Chile. Maybe Chile is the country in which capitalism works the worst way. At least that's my opinion. I'm just going to read some news from, I don't remember now, but look. I don't remember where I put it. I guess it was Instagram. Just 1 second. This is a YouTube video. YouTube video about Max Weber. And so
there are about 35 countries where capitalism is now well developed. It probably works best in Germany, where Weber first observed it. But in the remaining 161 nations, it arguably isn't working very well at all.
That's it. Capitalism doesn't work well in Chile, nor any other global south country. That's why the best thing people right here should do is to overthrow the governments, overthrow this regime, the capitalist regime in the global south. Doesn't work at all. We should build communism, definitely. Anyway, it's being very cold here. I will tell you how much. I guess it's 7 degrees. Yeah, look. 7 degrees Celsius. But it's not so bad. Anyway, Let's read something communist. Woo! Um, I don't know what to read. Let's try to read. Let's read the genocide dossier in Gaza. Maybe there's not genocide dossier. There's not coverage. Who knows? Al Jazeera is open. Breaking: Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei warns Israel must expect severe punishment. Israel launches major strike on Iran's nuclear military site. What? Breaking news: Israel confirms attack launched on Iran's nuclear and military sites. US claims it was not involved in attack. Warns Iran against retaliation. Oh my god. 5 hours ago. Al Jazeera English TV. Live news and current affairs. There's a stream, I'm not going to watch it. Ayatollah Khamenei says several commanders and several scientists were martyred in Israeli attack. Live updates: Israel launches quote-unquote major strike on Iran's nuclear military site. Blast heard in Iranian capital Tehran as Israel carries out large-scale attack on country. By Ted Regencia, Alastair McCready, Ali Harb, Erin Hale, Tim Hume, Umud Uras. I don't remember these names. Those are special journalists for this matter. June 13, updated 5 hours ago. And the summary: first, Israeli military says it launched a wave of strikes against Iranian military and nuclear sites in a major escalation against Tehran. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has warned Israel that it quote-unquote must expect severe punishment following the quote-unquote crime of attacking Iran and killing several commanders and scientists. Third, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the military operation will continue as long as necessary. Iranian authorities suspend flights at Tehran's international airport as news outlets report that residential buildings have been struck in the Iranian capital. And lastly, United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the U.S. is quote-unquote not involved in the strikes and warns Iran against attacking American bases in the region. We just can't laugh about it because Israel is an American base. 1 minute ago, June 13, stocks sell off. Oil surges in the wake of Israeli strikes. Oil prices have surged more than 9%, hitting their highest in almost 5 months after Israel struck Iran, dramatically escalating tensions in the Middle East and raising worries about disrupted oil supplies. Brent crude futures Brent crude futures jumped 6.29 cents or 9.07% to 75.65 a barrel by after hitting. I guess this is terrible for the world economy, hitting an intraday high of 78.50, the highest since January 27. U.S. West Texas Intermediate US West Texas Intermediate crude was up $6.43 or 9.45% and 74.47 a barrel after hitting a high of $77.62, the loftiest since January 21st. Friday's gains were the largest intraday moves for both contracts since 2022, after Russia invaded Ukraine, causing energy prices to spike. Quote, "The question now is whether this is a typical geopolitical knee-jerk reaction from markets, which results in lots of hype with no delivery, or if the US really is on the brink of navigating a Middle East war." End quote. Matt Simpson, senior market analyst at City Index in Brisbane, Australia, told Reuters news agency. In other markets, stocks dived in early Asian trade, led by sell-off in US futures, while investors scurried to safe havens such as gold and the Swiss franc. Quote, the heightened geopolitical risks are being strongly felt in the FX foreign exchange market. With the rising risk of sentiment, the Japanese yen is likely to be bought. End quote. Yeah, people say this. Japanese money is the safest, said Hirofumi Suzuki, chief FX strategist at SMBC in Tokyo. 6 minutes ago, watchdog says no increase in radiation levels at Natanz nuclear site. As we have, there's a new live update. As we have been reporting, Israeli fighter jets reportedly bombed the Natanz nuclear site during its blitz in the early hours of Friday morning, striking locations across Iran. See the information provided by Iranian authorities. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, has said there is currently no increase in radiation levels at Natanz, Iran's main uranium enrichment site. The IAEA added that the Bushehr nuclear power plant was not targeted during the attack. Friday, June, 15 minutes ago, Israeli strikes on Iran eco campaign against Hezbollah by Ali Harb. Wave after wave of airstrikes, killing of top military and political officials, and targeting of military assets. For those who watched the Israeli assault against Hezbollah last year, the strikes on Iran seems familiar. While Israel framed its attacks as quote-unquote preemptive, suggesting that they are defensive, the scale and intensity on the strikes suggests that the Netanyahu government is launching a decapitation campaign of sorts against the Iranian regime. While the shock and awe strategy appears to have worked against Hezbollah, leaving the group weakened and committed to a de facto unilateral ceasefire as Israel continues its daily attacks in Lebanon, it is unclear how it will unfold with Iran. Iran is a nation of 90 million people with a multifaceted defense establishment, so Tehran has a greater ability to withstand painful attacks than its allies in Lebanon, which could allow Iran to prolong the conflict and push to win by exhausting Israel. To use a boxing analogy, Israel appears to have won by a knockout against Hezbollah. Iran will be looking to win by points. Um, a boxing analogy. Interesting. I got it. I know something about boxing. It's interesting. A few seconds ago, UK Starmer expresses concern over strikes, calls for calm. The British Prime Minister has responded to Israel's attacks on Iran as the UK makes up to news of the fresh crisis in the Middle East. Starmer called the Israeli strikes concerning and called on, quote, all parties to step back and reduce tensions urgently. Quote, now is the time for restraint, calm, and return to diplomacy, he said. Very interesting. Tomorrow, maybe, there will be World War III. What about that? 20 minutes ago, Israel claims it killed Iran's top 3 military commanders. The Israeli army said it has killed Iran's quote-unquote 3 most senior military commanders in its surprise overnight attacks. In a post on X, the Israeli military named the targets on its assassinations as Mohammad Bagheri, Chief of Staff of the Armed Forces, Hossein Salami, the commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, and Major General Golan Ali Rashid, commander of the Qatam al-Anbiya Central Headquarters. The army said that during the night, more than 200 Israeli Air Force fighters jets had attacked more than 100 targets across Iran. Maybe there's a new live update. So this is a severe provocation against Iran. Maybe there will be World War III, depending on what Russia will do. Imperialism is definitely desperate. A few seconds ago, White House trying to distance itself from Israel's attack by Alan Fisher. The fact they are using the phrase quote-unquote not involved, quote-unquote unilateral, that all suggests that they are trying to put some level of distance between what the Israelis did and the United States. But we know from Donald Trump, who's spoken to a U.S. news station, in the last hour or so, that they were aware that this attack was coming. Donald Trump had talked about how he did not want to get involved in quote-unquote stupid wars in the Middle East, and that will all end as soon as he become president. So he doesn't want to get dragged into a conflict with Iran. Well, Israel is 100% back from the United States. United States is 100% backing Israel. The army said that during the night, more than 200 Israeli Air Force fighter jets had attacked more than 100 targets across Iran. Friday, June 13th, 31 minutes ago, Israel and Iran attacks in 2024 versus now. There's a comparison interesting from Al Jazeera. An interesting comparison from 2024 to now. Al Jazeera correspondent Dorsa Jabari explained that the scope and scale of today's attack by Israel is much greater than two tit-for-tat attacks last year. Topics first. First topic. In April 2024, Iran launched missiles and drones at Israel after Israel bombed its embassy in Damascus. This was followed by a second round of missiles in October 2024, just days after Israel assassinated Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah and Iranian Brigadier General Abbas Nilforoshan. Israel responded both times by striking Iranian military facilities and key infrastructure. Jabari said the 2024 military exchanges between Israel and Iran broke, quote, an important psychological barrier as the first of their kind since 1979. The latest round of attacks has pushed the barrier further because they did not come with warnings like on previous occasions. And the last one, quote, this was completely by surprise, and the scale of this attack is much larger and broader. We are seeing multiple locations, Tabriz, Tehran, Karmashah, Isfahan, Natanz under attack. The scale of it, the scope of it, is certainly much larger, and it is continuing. It's not a one-off. This is not a strategic in and out kind of attack. They are continuing as we speak, and we have no idea when they will end, Jabari said. This is a graphic. Iran and Israel military head-to-head. Israel active personnel 169,500. Iran 610,000. So 6 times more. Reserve personnel. Surprisingly, Israel have more. Defense budget. Israel have lots of more. So it's a balanced conflict. Who knows what's going to happen? I cheer for Iran right now. I'm going to find my Iranian jersey. So, impressive news, but just analyzing the logic of this Israeli attack, well, Iran is backing the axis of resistance. Anyway, 40 minutes ago, mediator Oman calls Israel's strikes, quote-unquote, reckless as nuclear talks throw into bout. Oman, which has been mediating nuclear talks between the US and Iran over recent months, has decried Israel's attacks as a, quote-unquote, dangerous and reckless escalation that, quote-unquote, violates the principles of international law. Quote, it represents unacceptable and ongoing aggressive behavior that undermines the foundations of stability in the region, end quote. The statement said, quote, Israel is responsible for this escalation and its consequences, end quote. Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, was due to meet an Iranian delegation this weekend in Oman for the 6 rounds of talks aimed at curbing Tehran's nuclear program. But discussions looking delved after Iran's foreign ministry accused Washington of being complicit in Israel's strikes and vowed revenge. And lastly, 1 hour ago, mostly women and children among 50 injured in Israeli attack. Report. Iran's Tasnim news agency is reporting that at least 50 people injured in the Israeli attack have been transferred to the Shamaran hospital in the northern Tehran district of Tajrish. According to Tasnim, 35 of those who were injured were women and children. Again, 1 hour ago, Jordan closes its airspace. Maybe that's why there's no coverage on Gaza, because Al Jazeera, it was in. Nobody's flying over over in the conflict region, Iraq, Iran, and Israel, Syria too. The Hashemite Kingdom's Civil Aviation Authority says it quote-unquote temporarily closed Jordanian airspace to all flights, quote, in anticipation of any dangers resulting from the escalation happening in the region, end quote. Last year, some Iranian missiles that target Israeli military bases flew over Jordan. Yeah, and there's a graphic. Airlines divert flights and airspace doses. 1 hour ago, more on the 2 top Iranian nuclear scientists assassinated by Israel. Fereydun Abbasi, who was the former chief of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, has been confirmed as being among those assassinated in the attack. Abbasi was also a former member of the Iranian parliament. Also reported killed was nuclear scientist Mohammad Mehdi Tehranchi, the head of the Islamic Assad University. The building that houses the residence of Tehranchi was also severely damaged. The building is also home to several Iranian scientists. This is an unprecedented development that Iran is facing. Anyway, rights groups calls on US to decouple interests with Israel. Just analyzing the logic behind all this, I guess the logic is perfect because Iran have backed Palestine and Palestinian attacks from October so long ago. Well, it's 7 degrees Celsius is very, very cold. But I'm wearing heavy suit. Anyway, I hope the best for Arab people. I hope the best for them. Tomorrow I will wear my Iranian jersey.